if you are wishing to purchase property in Italy, you must know the taxation at purchase. So first of all, it makes a big difference if you buy it from a private individual or from a company. Because if you buy it from a private individual, you do not pay any VAT. If you buy it from a company, the VAT tax is normally 10%, which is reduced to 4% if is your main residency. Now, on which value do you calculate VAT? That's the transaction value. So if you sell the house for 100,000, you calculate VAT on that. If you sell it for 1 million, then you calculate VAT on that. But it's far more common to buy your house from a private individual. So in that case, you are required to pay a registered tax, stamp duty, and cadastral tax. And by far, the most important tax is the registered one because it's a variable, it's a percentage of the transaction value. However, the transaction value is calculated as the cadastral value. So there is a value for tax purposes multiplied by a coefficient, and on that you calculate the registered tax. So regular, this is 9%, but it's not 9% of the amount you pay, it's 9% of the cadastral value, which might differ from the transaction value. Now, is it possible to reduce that? Yes, if you elect your house as your primary residency, which means that from 9% we go down to 2%. But how do you do that? Well, you are required to move your personal residency to register at the local comune, not in the house, but in the comune, in the municipality, within 18 months. And why do you have to do that? Well, consider that your house, the property you purchase, might not be habitable. So you are required to perform major renovation, restoration, and it might take a while. It might take more than 18 months. So the law only requires you to move in the municipality, not to move in the house. And then you secured your 2% reduction from 9 to 2. And you are also required to keep your residency in the same municipality for 5 years. If you relinquish your residency before, then you're required to pay the money back. And if you cannot make it into the 18 months, you should pay the difference, which is the 7% plus a 30% fine, unless prior to the ending of the 18 months, you send a communication to the tax office saying you want to relinquish your right for the reduction. And in that case, the tax office will calculate the difference, the so-called 7%, and send you a bill, and you do not pay any fines and penalties above that. But let me give you a particular advice on that. So a lot of people, they buy a house and then rush in to get the residency in the same commune, but they fail to account for income tax purposes. Because if you are resident, if you're resident at the local anagrafe for more than 183 days, you are deemed tax resident of Italy. And the implication is that you have to pay tax on your worldwide income and disclose your foreign held assets and pay wealth tax. So it makes a big difference if you register on June 30th or July 3rd. So you will have 1 year in which you're tax resident or you aren't. Or does it make sense to pay an additional 9% instead of moving your residency because your foreign residency is far cheaper on income tax purposes? You end up saving more money, and it is better to have a second home than a primary home in Italy. And finally, tax you pay at purchase and ongoing property tax are two separate concepts. So if you can reduce your registered tax to 2% if you move within 18 months, the property tax clock runs from the day you buy it until the day you occupy and register at your premises. So as long as you do not register at your premises, at the house you bought, you are required to pay property tax for that. So the concept of second home for property taxes and for registered taxes at purchase are two totally different concepts, and you must be aware of that. So whenever you buy a home, until the day you sit in that, until the day you register in that, you're required to pay property tax. You have to self-assess that and pay. If you don't do that, the local commune has 5 years to audit and investigate your position, and they charge a minimum 30% fine for not paying property taxes on time. So just to recap this video, first, consider what is the impact on your income taxes for registering as main residence and pay your property tax on time.